Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of Midweek Matters, joined as always by Charlie White. But it's been a while, hasn't it, Charlie? It's sort of been that Origin disrupted period. We get disrupted because we do the Origin recap instead of Midweek Matters. No doubt our fans are delighted to have us back on the scene.
They will, mate. Just you and me for the rest of the footy season. Can't wait. We've obviously spent last week together in Brisbane. So
yeah, we did about 4 days, didn't we?
Yeah. You even stayed in my bed with me for a couple of days as well. Couldn't get your own room, so you came and crashed in with me. We did the old Brandon Smith, Jared Weir-Hargraves, put the beds together.
Yeah, we did. We were inspired by Brandon. Occupancy rates were pretty high on the Wednesday, and I left it pretty late. So you let me bunk in with you, and then Thursday I just couldn't be bothered getting a room to myself. It sort of, made myself at home and. Thanks for having me.
Well, you made yourself at home on the Wednesday very much so, because when I got back from doing the Origin game and went and had a couple of beers after the game with some Triple M people, you were just playing a podcast loud through the room, and I didn't want to disturb you, so I just had to fall asleep to Carl Pilkington and Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant talking about something. I can't remember what it was, but it was distracting while trying to fall asleep. I think it took me an extra probably half an hour, 45 minutes to fall asleep.
You should have just turned it off, because if I was asleep,
you were asleep, but I didn't want to disturb you. I'm sort of I'm a good roommate, so I'll just I'll let it be. I'll just cop it and deal with it.
Do you know I've been doing that for about 15 years now.
It's funny, mate. I used to do it when I was 19 to 20-ish. Put the Ricky Gervais show on, listen to it. So I can understand why you do it. It's a very soothing way to fall asleep.
It is.
And you got those ones on YouTube that run for 8 hours. So you can just basically have it going all night.
Well, and also I know where the story goes.
Yeah.
So I don't have to follow it, because when you listen to it for the first time, it can be interesting. And usually as well, it's not the podcast, it's the XFM, the original and best. Carl Pilkington gets introduced as the producer for Merchant and Gervais, and it is just comedy gold. But once you know, and they do things like Rockbusters, with one of our favourites.
Back today, Rockbusters. I got one for you.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just there is actually a Ricky Gervais. There's a bit of a community on YouTube that I'm not part of, but you see some of the comments. I genuinely can't sleep without it. So I charge my phone downstairs, but I've got another phone upstairs that only has YouTube on it, basically. No emails, WhatsApp messages, or anything like that. So I just put the YouTube on and listen to a bit of Carl Pilkington, Merchant, Gervais every night for at least 15 years.
What does your missus say about all that? Does she get annoyed by it? Does she sort of just comes with the...
I mean, it shouldn't affect anybody in any way, shape, or form.
Well, it would affect someone if you put the headphones in.
Yeah.
You sleep with headphones in.
Just one.
Dangerous.
Yeah. Why is it dangerous?
Roll over, cross your ear.
No.
Could do. You never know.
Really?
I don't think it'd be, and also directly into your brain. You need to let your brain rest.
Do I?
That's something I've noticed about you as well. Spend time with you. You never let your brain rest. You know, any moments of calm. You have to be going from one thing to the other. We even have a 45-minute gap. And you're like, oh, do I go back to the hotel and go to the gym? So we're back on it in a little bit of time, mate. You might not have time, but you just go.
I like to be on the go. Yeah. I like to be efficient with the time. Hate wasting time.
Yeah.
Just dithering around, and I want to be proactive. Get after things. If a window pops up, like I did in Brisbane, what do? You go for an 8 1K time trial run.
Nice, yeah.
Bang.
Came back as red sweaty mess. Poor Christian Wolf.
Yeah,
he was like, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, Jimmy?"
Yeah, well, you've spilled the beans on one of our future podcasts, Christian Wolf. Yeah, but I was as red as that Ladbrokes.
Yeah. Also, speaking of being red, I imagine you'll be getting a bit red this weekend at the Beer Footy Food Festival.
Yes, really looking forward to that. I've got High Rocks event. Me and Jeremy Lattimore are doing the High Rocks on Saturday morning. Start time 8:30, I think.
Yeah.
Box that off. Back to the Shire. Shower. Bang. Out to Beer Footy and Food. Really looking forward to it. Henson Park. It should be a great day out.
Get your tickets if you haven't already. It's going to be great. Even the wrestling. They do the wrestling there as well. They got 30 breweries, I think, there. Countless food trucks as well.
Lots of fun for all the family. And I've been before they were a partner. As soon as they came along, they were like, we worked something out. It was like, well, yes, because I'll be going anyway.
Yeah.
So some great breweries that'll be there. So make sure you check them out. Just quickly, Charlie, talking them like, you're putting shit on me for my living habits. Well, you've been without a car, and I've been almost like your personal chauffeur.
Yeah, it's what mates
Can you
do,
drop
though.
me here, drop me there? Do you mind taking me there? Oh, and then you know what really pissed me off?
Yeah.
You did the fake. I can just get out here if you want.
Yeah, well, that's not fake. It's genuine. That's me thinking of
no,
that. That's,
it's you. It's fake politeness, knowing that I wouldn't say no, but you just want to come across as a good person. So we were going from wherever we were, from Coogee, yeah, and then we had to go to the studio, which is in Paddington, and you needed to be dropped off in the city at World Square.
Yeah.
And when we were going,
so probably an extra 3-minute drive.
Look, but if you just want, we can just go straight to the studio, and I'll make my own way. Like I'm gonna say, like just a shithousery way of saying, like, oh, I offered. You're worse than Madge Maguire. Oh, can we take the bus down Caxton Street? No, because you know it's going to be a no. You knew I was going to say, like,
but you didn't drop me at work. You dropped me in Surrey Hills. So because I said, oh, this is probably more efficient for you. So I saved you getting into the city, didn't I?
Yeah, but you still, anyway. Shit
I got you right. I got you there. I enjoyed the buy around live on Fox as well on Tuesday night.
Thank you. Yeah,
you and Woodsy together.
Yeah, we got it for another 2 weeks while Matty Jones is over in Paris covering the Olympics for Fox. So they came to us about doing the buy around live. So yeah, me and Woodsy will be doing that for the next couple of weeks, and see how we go. It's nerve wracking though.
Yeah, live TV, live as well. Live TV.
It was live. Yeah. Yes, and the producer in your ear, and
was that the first time you've done something like that? Then?
Oh yeah. Obviously, I've done live television before. Well, not obviously, but I have done live television before. But when I was the person sort of steering the conversation, had to get to a break, the intro, the outro. You know what it's like here when we're starting things up. It can be arduous, to say the least. And stutter your words. We'll go again. And even our live reads, it's not exactly
the polished product.
So it was good though. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'll do it for 2 more weeks and see what happens after that.
Dead time. What time did they get you to get in there?
There was a little bit of dead time, but I felt like it was preparation time.
Preparation time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Should I give you my rockbuster before we talk about the rest of the topics?
Please do.
A Beatle superhero. So just have a think about that one. A Beatle superhero.
A Beatle superhero.
Yeah. First person to get in the comments can get a T-shirt as well, or a hat. Up to you. You can decide.
Up to him, up to her.
It probably has to be on YouTube. This is a bit of YouTube exclusive as well.
Yeah.
We'll do one for YouTube and then one DM. So we'll give away 2 items of clothing.
A Beatle
superhero. You don't need to give it up just straight. You can have a think about it through the show.
I don't think I'm going to get that.
I think you'll get it. Oh, maybe you won't. Maybe you won't. Maybe you're dope. But we want to talk about your top 10 props. It's caused a bit of controversy.
Has it?
You and Aaron Woods, you put together your top 10 list of current day props.
Yes.
Do you want to run through your list again for us? I think it's caused a bit of controversy because some of them are injured. They haven't played this year.
Oh, come on. You can't be...
I didn't see... Did I see Jared Warrior-Hargraves not on the list?
He did not make the list.
Yeah, it seems a bit disrespectful to...
No. Because we're looking at
game.
it... No. We're not saying top 10 props necessarily like with all the previous work that they've done. Like the top 10 props of the moment. Like and moving forward. So... Jared is leaving the NRL in 6 months' time, not even 6 months' time. So I think that takes him out of there. Look,
even though the Roosters seemed a bit lost without him in the middle.
But if you're going to go out and sign someone, you're not going to sign Jared Warrior-Hargraves, are you?
No, but so it's top 10 props to sign for next year, or is it top 10 props for this year? The impact they have on their club.
It's the top 10 props. Jared doesn't.
Jared doesn't make the list. It's fine.
He doesn't make the list. Yeah, honourable mention. There's a lot of play. All right. Well,
Stefano Utoikamanu also didn't make the list. Run us through your list. There, have you got it there?
All right. So we got the list. Top 10 in no particular order. Payne Haas, Tino Fasuamala-Awe, who's on the show this weekend.
Great chat.
Great chat. What a leader. I want to play with Tino. Also, he is a monster of a man. Like,
Yeah.
he is huge. I knew he was big when I met him, or obviously previously meeting him up close. Like, geez, he's bigger than you. You and Tony sent me the still.
Yeah. Mate, I'm 6 foot tall, and when I went to shake his hand, he like bent down and hugged me like he was going down to hug a girl or something. It was like he's a huge man. He must be 6 foot 6, 6'7" maybe.
Very intimidating, and like I look like a little boy, and I'm not small.
You're not a small
like I'm
guy.
like 6'2", around 108. Like
he dwarfs the poor chairs at Ladbrokes. They'll never be the same.
The chairs were not big enough for Tino. He's in there. James Fisher-Harris, Adam Fanua-Blake, Moses Leota, Tom Flegler, Lindsay Collins, Spencer Lenu, Joe Tarpanay, and Mitch Barnett. So, some very honourable mentions. We've got some people outside that. We've got Nelson, Asafa Solomona. He's not in there. Paseka, Fodawaker, Hargreaves, the two lads from Parramatta, the two lads from Cronulla. That's Borlo, RCG, Hamlin Welle, Toby Rudolph, even Royce Hunt. They're all, and Utoya Kamanu in and around. Probably that's the top 20, right? Very difficult, and it's subjective. It's not, there's no right or wrong answer. It was a bit vague in terms of the criteria. Flegler hasn't played this year, but he spoke to us last week on the show, who guarantees us he's coming back, and I think you've got to take that into consideration. So that's where we come up with the top 10 list. And
Fanua-Blake, was he on the list?
No, Adam Fanua-Blake was on the list.
Yeah. James Fisher-Harris probably, should he maybe be number one? 3 premierships in a row. Was he the Golden Boot winner?
Well, we didn't do it in numerical order.
Oh, that's just the top 10.
It was just I said in no particular order.
Oh, that's a bit soft from you and Woodsy.
Well, but that takes
your
more
live
time.
TV debut,
that
your
takes
live
more
show.
time.
Put your balls on the line.
No, but the idea was to not. We didn't. It wasn't about listing the props. It was about saying that Stefano Utoikamanu isn't in there, and there's some very honourable mentions as well that aren't in there. And now, where does Stefano sit in that list? I assume he wants to get in that list. Win the respect of his peers, but also start to know and dominate by his coaching staff, by his teammates, like I say, by his peers, that he's in that top 5.
Yeah.
Right? So how does he get there? Well, he gets there by leaving the West Tigers. That's how he gets there. So look, you can argue about who's in the list, who's not in the list. The point we were trying to make was about that Stefano's not. He's being recruited on a high paycheck, or reportedly high paycheck, and the Tigers have offered him a rich deal to stay. But I'm assuming he wants to move into that top 10, top 5. How does he get there? Well, so the clubs that are in for him at the moment, I think the Dolphins have made no secret that they're in. The Storm, who are confident they're going to get him. Reports today that the Bulldogs have now entered the race.
Huge.
Which is massive for them. If there's one thing about them, they are missing that forward leader. They've got Kickow there, but obviously playing on an edge, a middle leader. And I think you'd be naive to think the Penrith Panthers aren't making inquiries with James Fisher-Harris moving, and they've signed Isaiah Papali'i.
Yeah. They've also got May, they've lost that salary now off the books.
Yeah, so
Luai's leaving.
Yeah, those 4 clubs, you could all see improvement in his game. So, look, where's he going to go? It just can't be the Tigers.
Who would you like to see him go to? I know the Doggies is your team, so you're going to say the Doggies. But do you think that's the best club for his future? I mean, you go someone like Penrith.
Yeah.
What an opportunity. Melbourne. You just look at what Craig Bellamy's done for guys like Josh King. And, countless other front rows who've come through those doors. Maybe he can end up going there and having a career like Jesse Bromwich, Kenny Bromwich, Christian Welsh. There's so many guys who've just kicked on there.
It's interesting from the Storm because they never, or it's hard to remember them having a big money recruit that plays in the middle, or even a big money recruit. Most of their players are developed within the system.
Often rejects from other clubs.
Yeah, and then the middles, they sort of get players that are underperforming and help them come into a system or an environment that maximizes their potential. So that's the point I'm making about Stefano, is how can he maximize and reach his genetic potential obviously mindset is important, but environment will shape you. The environment that he's in is going to shape him. Just going away from where he may go. Just unfortunate the Tigers at the moment. I don't think he can maximise his genetic or reach his genetic potential at the Tigers because they're drained on resources. They've got so much stuff going on. Benji and the rest of the staff can't dedicate the enough time to put into him developing into one of the best front rowers, the top 5 front rowers in the competition. Plus the team and the squad that he's playing in, I think it's highly unlikely. People would argue, well, what about Tino at the Gold Coast? Well, yes, but he's come from a foundation at Melbourne. He's come from that foundation at Melbourne, gone to the Gold Coast, and he's trying to implement it there. Maybe Stefano's not that player. He's never been in that environment. So I think he needs to get out of the Tigers. That is, for me, a no-brainer. Where he goes, look, the Storm, they've never recruited, so there's a bit of pressure on there. If he goes, he's got to perform away from family as well. The Dolphins, a lot of attraction at the Dolphins. We get to partner Tom Flegler. They've got a very good quality young up-and-coming spine with with such a bright future. We spoke to Christian Wolf, like we said, and they are on the upward trajectory. The Dolphins are going to be a force to be reckoned with, and obviously being coached by Wolfie is someone I know very well. He would suit any middle forward would be advised to go and spend time with Christian Wolf. The Bulldogs, my club, they need that forward leader. Gets to stay in Sydney, close to his family. Massive attraction to be a part of that club. That is a club that is on the up. Yep. He could be that missing piece, and
potentially more pressure at the Bulldogs over than the Storm. Even I think.
Potentially
because they are on the up. So if things don't go great for them again next year, fans are going to be really disappointed.
Yeah, you could make a very strong case for that. But I think that the sell for the Bulldogs is you don't have to leave. You're on the up. You can be part of something new, and versus the pressure of going to a Penrith where they, like, if you win, like, well, you've just replaced James Fisher-Harris. If you lose, well, you're not as good as him. Or Penrith can't keep. They can't go any higher. They can't get any better.
No, well then they're losing Luai.
And they're gonna. They've got to pull back at some stage.
Yeah.
So, does he go to Penrith that would likely pull back, or go to the Bulldogs that are likely going to go up? That's a big decision for him to make. I just think the important thing is he needs to get out of the Tigers.
Yeah,
he really does. And with the right coaching in the right environment, he potentially could accelerate into that top 5. But he's got a lot of work to do because, like we've spoken about, the competition for props is incredible. And there's some players this season that have had not their best years and off years that are going to, I think, will come back bigger and better next year. Another Smoky, actually. Souths.
Yes.
Because they need middles.
They were in for Adam Fanua-Blake. There was talk about them getting Jack DeBellin.
Yeah.
Obviously, that seems to have quietened down for whatever reason. But yeah, we'll see. His fellow Tigers teammate, though, Johnny Bateman, is on the move.
Yeah.
Going to England, going to the Warrington Wolves to try win a Super League premiership with your great mate, Sammy Burgess. Obviously a fantastic signing for them, first of all.
Huge signing for them. But again, not to bash up too much on the Tigers. It says more about the Tigers than it does about Johnny Bateman.
I heard you say this on the Byron Live show. I disagree. I think if you think about the way their salary cap has ended up, they've obviously got a lot of money in positions, particularly in the halves. So they're going to have to try and move some guys on. And they found someone like Fainu, who's been playing really well for them on the back row. Johnny Bateman's on big money the next 2 years. I know there's talk he's going to come back next year. There's no way he's ever come back to the NRL. I think that's absolute nonsense. I think he'll go put himself in the shop window there in England, and he'll get a deal in England.
In
England, no question. That would be the plan with the Tigers. So they're going to have to get rid of guys, and Johnny Bateman hasn't performed that well for them. I know he's your teammate, but he hasn't performed that well for them. And they've got young edge back rowers like Ruben Porter's another one who they probably think, we want to give these guys a chance to thrive. And Johnny Bateman's in the way of them at the moment.
I think they're lacking experience, though, and they're lacking leaders. And I think, for me, following John Bateman's career, playing alongside him, he was someone who I wanted to be in the trenches with. He moved from Bradford to Wigan. They win Super League. He comes over here, plays for Canberra. They make a grand final. Goes back to Wigan. They win a Challenge Cup. Comes over to the Tigers and they wouldn't spoon us. So, look, personally, I'd have Johnny Bateman in my team every day of the week. Tigers look like they're going in a different direction. And whether I don't understand what's going on. I think it's not even 2 years into a 4-year deal. So I think he was sold a vision of the club where they're going. I don't think that's sort of that vision that he was sold. I think it's changed, and it's very. The reality of the situation is very different.
The vision they were sold of John Bateman was probably a different vision as well.
Maybe, but he knows a thing or two about getting the best out of himself and getting the best out of his team. And he's had strong coaches that he's looked up to and he's feared, like Sean Wayne, Ricky Stewart. There's that mutual respect, and that Johnny's very confrontational. And I said this yesterday, and I just wonder whether or not Johnny Bateman's put his nose out of line because he's confronted Benji on some things that aren't going to plan. And Benji's maybe not that type of coach. And he's like, I want people that agree with me, and I can't have this disagreeable person. And that healthy confrontation, that honesty of a person that knows what success looks like. Same with Robbie Farah. He's gone. Like, is that a butting of the heads where we need to change some stuff here?
Yeah.
It was rumoured that was the reason Burgess left South, because of butting of the heads on standards with Jason Dimitri and some of the players there. So, look, Isaiah Papa, I get what you're saying, but the other evidence of experienced players that know how to perform week to week, that it's not worked out for the Tigers. Isaiah Papali'i hasn't worked out from there. Why? Question why?
Yeah.
Is it the environment? Like I talk about Stefano's environment reaching his potential. He's not improved this year. Papali'i's not the player he was. Bateman, not the player he was. David Clemmer, not the player he was.
Yeah.
So there's 3 examples there, 3 pieces of evidence to say it's more about the environment. Yes, they would take some ownership and responsibility. And you look at maybe Api Coruscant, but
I 100% where you're getting out there, and I agree with you on all that it's not a great environment. They've won 3. They're going to win 3 wooden spoons in a row in all likelihood. Like, it's not a place you'd want to be as a player. But I also think that John Bateman, it probably could be a very good strategic move for them to move him on and just free some of that cap up. And because they've got cheaper young back rowers coming through, and they're going to have to try and get rid of one of these halves as well. I know Caesar's off contract at the end of this year. It was just a 1-year deal, I'm pretty sure. Latu Finer was on big money, but he hasn't really kicked on. Yes, he's playing halfback this weekend, so we'll see what happens there. But then they've also got Jaden Sullivan on big money. Yeah. Dream Bullers are going to be on decent money now.
Luai's 1.2.
Yeah. So they're going to have to make some moves, and this is just the first domino to fall, I think, of many. Well, it's not the first because Papali'i's already leaving, but there's many more dominoes going to fall, and they're going to have to clean out a lot of this roster.
Yeah, I think it could be another 12, 24 months before we see any meaningful change.
Yeah, I think it's ambitious to think Luai's going to come in and just everything's going to turn.
Again, if you're Tigers, you're looking at the impact of Crichton coming to the Bulldogs, and I know he's made a huge difference, but also he's been backed up by a quality coach, a quality head of football, and a roster that is clearly, by the coaching, reaching their potential, and their defensive structure, which the year before wasn't great, but now we're seeing the results based off personnel. There's only Taruva and Luai coming in that I'm aware of. So, I think you're naive if you think Luai's going to change things massively. Look, it's a great combination of the spine with Api, Luai, Bula, and then someone else to put out Galvin. Yeah, 2 young, 2 senior, 2 have won grand finals together. So, look, I think there's some issues there around environment that likely need to change
Yeah.
to see the Tigers even just come away from that bottom four. Like people expect them to just spring into finals contention. Like they've just got to think about getting off that bottom four.
Yeah.
Because even looking ahead to next year, there's Souths are going to be better. The Warriors are going to be better. Parramatta are going to be better. Like,
Yeah.
it's a tough old gig, the NRL, and there's any team that are in and around the 8 are going to want to stay there. And there's some teams near the bottom that are definitely going to improve.
Yeah. And it's not just been the last 3 years of the wooden spoons. It feels like decades of hurt for the Tigers fans. So hopefully they turn it around. But speaking of another club then in a tough situation, the Newcastle Knights, and pressure seems to be mounting on Adam O'Brien. Obviously, last year he was on the verge of getting sacked, and then they went on that crazy run. They won 10 straight games to finish the year, and he saved his job. But now it seems to be going poorly again, and the reports are he's on the nose.
Yeah, well, I think he signed a 3-year extension. So it's 2 more years after this. Last year's run, did it pave over some cracks? Potentially. Winning solves everything, and it was heavily reliant on Kalen Ponga and his brilliance, his Dally M winning run of games got them to where they ended up going out to the Warriors in the semis. So it was a massive year for the Knights. Sometimes when you go on a run like that, you just think it's going to continue on. And I think back to this year's Newcastle Knights where they played against the Sydney Roosters at home, and Ponga was in everything. Like they looked he looked like he was back, and they were so reliant on him. He had that hip injury at the time, I think it was. And then he got the jab at half time, and there was debate about whether he should have been taken off. But basically, the Knights lost that game because Ponga was unable to perform for 10 minutes. Like I think there was Brandon Smith went on that crazy run through Ponga like he wasn't even there. But if Ponga was fit, they win for the whole game. They win that game. The next week they play the Dogs. He hurts his foot. They get pummeled by the Dogs. Absolutely like humbled. The week later, they go up, play the Dolphins at Suncorp, and it was clear watching that game. We were there, a few of the boys in the circle before the kickoff, and they laid the law down. This is what we're going to be like, and they actually went on a 4-game winning streak. But it was based off a level of performance that was, they changed how they played. It was simplistic, it was basic, it was grind style. It was low percentage stuff with a little bit of brilliance from, I think it was Armstrong and Sharp at the back a couple of times. But it was a very hard-nosed approach. And I wonder how much of an identity crisis they're going through. So they obviously know Pong is the man and how to unlock him. But they also know that playing this hard-nosed style can get results. So I think they're in a bit of a mishmash of who they want to be. Also, according to reports, there's been a couple of players there that, just like the Tigers, have been given the tap, which is not good, which can create that environment where you get 1 or 2 that are told they're not wanted. Just, you might as well put a line through the season. So I think there's an element of ID crisis and an element of a couple of players realise they're not wanted. So, well, fuck you, we're going.
Big guys in the dressing room as well. Daniel Saifidi, he's been there for years. Mate, the thing that stood out for me as well in the last couple of weeks was the decision to play Bradman Best, coming off already having a tight hamstring. Like, that just felt like absolute stupidity to play him after Origin, backing up 3 or 4 days later. Like,
it was a different hamstring there, wasn't it?
No, but it was the same hamstring that was tight. So he's had issues with the one of the hamstrings, and he's been out, missed some games with it. But then going into Origin, he had a tight hamstring in the other one. And then he obviously played, had a great game in Origin. But then why would you have someone back up who's got soft tissue injuries?
Because you've got to.
No, he didn't have to.
Well, I think you'd look at the Knights season and say they needed to beat the Broncos because I've said this a few times. The Knights are gone now because they can't afford to lose to Brisbane. They couldn't afford to lose to Brisbane because there's 2 teams outside the 8 hunting down teams in the 8. Same with the Raiders and the Warriors. The Warriors are gone now because they can't afford to lose points of another not just a top 8 rival, but a team that are outside the 8. So it's hard to see a final season this year that feature both the Broncos and the Knights that are currently outside the 8 with 7 rounds to go. It's really difficult to see that happening. Both of those. So I think the Knights were in a position where they looked and said, well, we need to jump the Broncos here because we can't afford to have them, and we can't afford to have them challenging for a spot.
Well, now
in
they've
the
lost
and
Best
us.
for the rest of the year, though, because of it. He's out for the rest of the year, most likely.
Well, that's
He's at least 4 weeks, but he could be shut down for the rest of the year.
That's the risk you've got to be willing to
It
take.
was a stupid risk, though.
Well, yeah, but you're looking at it with the benefit of hindsight, not looking at it with the. I think when you have a decision like that to make, you speak with the player and you weigh up the potential risks and you go, well, yes, there's a higher risk of injury, but it's one that you've just got to take.
Even though he's done like 3 hammies in the last 12 months. Like, it's just, it's so dumb. He's one of your best players. Like, protect him. Because it's not just for this year. Hamstrings are one of the most recurring injuries.
Yeah.
Once you start doing them, you keep on doing them over and over again.
But coaches, you can't tell me Adam O'Brien is thinking about next year because he's already under the pump.
Well, he should be thinking about at least the week after this week.
Yeah, but if they lost to the Roosters, which they did, like now they're...
But now they've lost their strike centre.
Yeah, they're under pressure in the media. But, mate, coaches are just thinking they'll be fine. Like, they'll be fine. It's worth the risk.
Yeah. It's a strange one, O'Brien, because he doesn't seem like the most inspirational guy when you see him in press conferences and things like that. He's kind of got that sort of monotone voice, a bit like similar to Anthony Griffin in some ways. Like, he doesn't... I don't know if he would be the most inspirational person to be led by. And you look at other guys like Cameron Ciraldo and, Ivan Cleary and Trent Robinson, Craig Bellamy. They speak so well. They're so charismatic as well. They've got that sort of X factor. He's definitely not an X factor coach.
No. It's going to be interesting to see how the Knights finish the year. I think O'Brien's probably safe for now, but all eyes will be at the start of next year. If they have this bit of a rumour clear out, rejig the roster a little bit. I mean, they didn't help themselves start the season as well, where they were chopping and changing their halves all the time. And even the BS around, oh no, but we're counting the trial games. It's like, you don't count trial games for working on combinations. It just doesn't work that way.
And publicly criticising Will Price as well. That was a strange move by Adam O'Brien.
Yeah, that he wasn't. And he did really well when he came into first grade. So I think O'Brien will be all right, but he'll be under massive pressure to start next year. Otherwise, they'll just make a call and they'll be gone.
Well, the only thing that I think could make them go early is if Michael Maguire says, yeah, I'll take the job. Because I know I think he put his hand up for the job last year. If they can convince him to leave the Origin arena, they can't be waiting. Marge won't be like, yeah, sweet, we'll see how they start next year, then I'll come in. He'll want to start next year.
He'll want a pre-season with them.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh,
but anyway.
no, he can't leave. He's been great for Origin.
Oh, he's perfect for Origin.
He's brilliant for Origin. Like, the glass houses stuff, like, it surprised me, actually, how Maguire acted. Really surprised me.
Well, he even got the baseball bat out in a pre-game speech, I'm told, or some sort of speech that he made. You know, he's perfect for, like, he's all about emotion and he's all about narrative and firing up and
very detailed and hardworking.
Yeah, I'm sure he is very detailed, but I mean, he can really, like, fire up a team if given the right, and he will do these insane speeches and things like that. So I think something like Origin is perfect because he can tap into that emotion of players.
He'd be stupid to walk away from Origin now.
He wants to be an NRL head coach, though.
Yeah, but you know what, mate? There's time for that. Do another Origin series.
And what if they lose 3-0? And then everyone turns on him. It's so fickle. You just see what happened to Billy Slater.
But I think he'd be... Yeah, what if coaches aren't thinking like that? They go, what if I win another one? Back-to-back Origin series. My stocks then go up. Let's have a look at some other potential jobs that may become available.
Melbourne Storm.
Melbourne. Pressure on Kevy with the Broncos at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell me that these things and thoughts aren't going on.
I'm sure they are.
And is like, let's look at Maguire's history. Souths, huge club on the up. Like, got them to a premiership, had a lot of work to do, but then went to the Tigers and with respect to Newcastle, then they're nowhere near like the Tigers. They're probably more like Souths. But is he probably looking at going, I need another big club?
Possibly. He might think that he likes the roster at Newcastle with some guys like Kalen Ponga. They probably need a half back. They need halves, generally speaking.
Okay, well, all right, if that's the question, can Newcastle recruit that type of player?
Probably not, unless you can sell the dream of a little bit outside of Sydney, out of sight, out of mind. Look how good this lifestyle is here.
But would he be better going to Melbourne that can and have, or a Brisbane?
And you can see what he does when he's got a good roster.
Yeah.
Like he'll be able to get them to a premiership contender. But anyway, let's preview the round of footy.
Yeah, great round.
Great round of footy. Obviously, there's no Thursday night footy because the NRL's got the women's first game of the women's season, standalone on a Thursday night. Awesome opportunity for the girls' game to get the attention. It's the Knights against the Roosters. And it's our girls, the Roosters girls, Millie, Liv and Keely going up there to Newcastle. So if you do want to hear more about women's rugby league, get the Upfront podcast. They do a little NRLW season preview there. They're very funny girls as well. So it's great content if you are interested in NRLW.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding. The girls have got their standalone game, and obviously the Upfront podcast is the best place to get all your NRLW news off the back of a great State of Origin series. How good was it to see it go to a decider? 3 games. They've been waiting a long time for this. So the women's game is on the up. It's been in and around the press coverage this week, which is absolutely fantastic. Talking about the untapped revenue and the potential for the women's game here in Australia is huge. It's attracting the best athletes. It's hard though, the success of the Matildas, although it's great for women's sport in general, it probably doesn't help NRLW because they are on such a pedestal. So everybody in the rugby league community needs to pump up the women's game because we are in competition with all sports for athletes. And I know what it's like in England where soccer is the main driver of sport and gets all the attention. So naturally speaking, all the best athletes go there. So Matildas are streets ahead and we've seen what they can do. So hopefully the NRLW isn't far behind.
Well, I think the NRLW is in the best position of the other women's sports. I think the quality of it is a lot better than, say, the AFLW quality compared to the AFL game.
And they've got, the advantage over soccer is they've got a domestic league.
Yeah.
So fans, young and old, can go and support a team where, the Matildas come into town. Well, how long would they be in? Like twice a year?
Yeah.
It's a bit different. It's not that same sense of following and belonging that a club does. So, I think they're front runners in terms of the sports that are on offer here in Australia.
And then we go to Friday night, Jimmy, where the NRL kicks off again. It's going to be good when we can get back to that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Get rid of this Origin disruption. I love my Thursday night footy. I'll be watching the women's game, but I love the NRL on a Thursday. And then Friday we got Warriors Tigers, huge game for the Warriors. They have to win it. I mean, you think they're done either way?
I do.
Yeah,
Charlie.
It's a shame. What a disappointment.
Mate, you know what? It's such a fine margin in the NRL. And I look at 4 games that the Warriors have played. So that loss they had against the Storm, where Coates called that freak try. The loss against Canberra last week, where it was 4 tries to 3 in their favour. The loss against the Dogs in Golden Point. And there was another one that was pretty close. Maybe
they drew with Manly.
They drew with Manly.
They should have probably beat the Sharks in round 1.
There's the Gold Coast Titans at home. So those where they lost 27-24 when the Titans hadn't won a game all year. How much were they just thinking they were bouncing in going, we've got this. So there's 4 games. They're currently on 7 wins. They win those 4 games, they're on 11. They're in the top 4. They're equal on points with Sydney Roosters. Those are the fine margins. The coach try at the end. Shit, we've just nearly won in Melbourne, but we've lost. Gold Coast coming to town. Easy. No drama. Fanua Blake scored early. Cruise control. No, the Titans came back. The Dogs, Golden Point, back and forth. Probably should have won that game with a couple of opportunities that they were presented with. They didn't. They play the Raiders. They miss an easy conversion. They score more tries. These are the fine margins. Those 4 wins get you in the top 8. And it's they're just a little bit off the Warriors. And I just wonder how much, again, speaking of those 4 games, 3 in particular, how much were they just expecting to win? And how much were they expecting to play finals this year? How much of them were expecting a home semi and this wave of support, not just by Auckland, but by the nation of New Zealand, everybody's favourite second team here in Australia as well. I think it's a level of expectation and a little bit of a reality check of just how fine those margins are and how close the games can be.
It's one of your top takeaways for 2024, that the Warriors would miss the 8. You've done well. That's one tick for James Grant's predictions.
I have the Bulldogs finish 6th.
Then you're home. But obviously you got the Warriors winning this one.
I do.
Cool. Then we go to the later game, Eels Storm, the return of Cam Munster finally.
Yeah, hopefully he's back. You know what? I've got a strange feeling about this game.
Really?
Yes. There's something about when the Eels play the Storm.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I do know what you mean. They often have great games. It's at Combank Stadium as well.
Do you remember when Stone scored and he hit the post and he did his ACL? Like, they always produce way better games than you think.
Yeah. No Moses.
Yeah.
No Junior Barlow. No Jermaine Hopgood. No Mike Acevo.
You know, against the Storm, I don't trust the Eels to be shit.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I do.
Like, I don't trust them to just not turn up. I think they will. I'm not gonna. Tony, obviously a big Parramatta fan.
Tip it.
No, I'm not
pathetic,
prepared. No, I'm just making a case.
You're giving us tipping blue balls here. What is this?
I'm just making a case for the Eels. I think it'll be a lot closer than.
Can I just say something? You don't get to claim it then if it happens. You don't get to go, I alluded to that maybe happening. It's like, well, no, you didn't say it. You either tip them or you don't.
I'm previewing the game.
You're not.
I'm not tipping.
I'm in an R about them.
Well, you asked me for a tip. I've said the Storm,
Okay,
but I'm previewing the game.
Okay,
or we just go through and just go, Storm. Nah.
Storm, yeah.
It's not building the excitement,
no, it's exciting,
mate.
yeah.
Mate, you should get your own Fox League to build the game up. Oh, who's going to win? Storm.
Well, let's be realistic as well. But also, we can talk about the return of Cam Munster.
Yes.
What happens to Tyron Wishart?
Ooh. No, like the Storm spine, I think is the best in the comp. They're pole position to take this championship off Penrith that have held it for 3 years now.
It's like the perfect amount of weeks as well for Munster to come back as well, as they've got 6-7 weeks to go. He can really get settled in. Because this, I mean, in a weird way, it's like you're sitting top, like, oh, what could we go all the way with this current setup? They look like they could win the comp the way it is.
Yeah, they've got a huge game, round 24. They play Penrith. Can't wait for that. That's going to be
Bluebet Stadium as well.
Enormous, absolutely enormous. Munster back, Storm will get the win. Munster must be 100% fit. Like he must be like over. He must have been ready to go for weeks now because they're not going to bring him back, rush him back for this.
No.
So
no, they don't muck around the Melbourne Storm. They take their rehab very seriously. Obviously, a bit of news around Pappenhausen, and he's getting injections for a bit of a nerve injury in the foot. Hopefully that's not a big issue. Maybe they'll sit him down for a couple of weeks, rest him as we get to finals, but we'll see. Then Super Saturday. This is talking about. I'll build this one up, Jimmy.
Oh yeah,
this is the biggest Super Saturday we've ever had in NRL history. We've got 3 games with finals implications. Starting off at Suncorp Stadium for a 3:00 Saturday game. The Broncos against the Doggies. The Dogs were a bit unlucky in Townsville. It's going to be tough.
Hayward's no try was a try.
It's a really hard one to tell. I think if it was given a try, it would have stayed a try.
Yeah. That was huge turning point. Surprised the Dogs took the 2. Yeah. Surprised the Dogs took the 2. I think if the Dogs are a chance, they got to ambush Broncos and make them nervous. They have to start well. If the Dogs can get out to a lead, we'll see the Broncos get nervous because they were nervous against Newcastle last week when they began that game. They were playing under pressure. So if the Dogs can get out to a lead, and there'll be a huge crowd there at Suncorp Saturday afternoon, expected to be close to as full as you can imagine, you can silence that crowd and start to play with the Broncos' heads around like, oh, shit, we're in trouble. But if you let them start fast, they're just gonna go and blow them away. But the Dogs' defense has been awesome. It's still so impressive to watch how they turn off one another, King has been missed. He was missed. He does so much work, but they all do, to be fair. I'm planning the Dogs start really well and just watch the Broncos beat themselves.
Are you not a bit worried that they haven't got the points to match it with the Broncos?
Look, it's well documented that you need points in you to beat the Broncos because they do have points, but the Bulldogs have the second best defensive record in the competition from memory.
They do.
So if there's a team that can shut them out, it's the Dogs. So and the Broncos defensively aren't great. So the Dogs attack, it gets much publicized, but I think back that their left edge when it was humming. Like, think about that game against the Roosters, the game against the Knights. Like, their left edge has looked really threatening. It just probably needs a bit of fine tuning. And the strike on the right that they've got with Crichton, it's maybe not as utilized as utilized as it should be. So they've got some work to do in attack, no doubt.
I will say I think Ladbrokes is being extremely disrespectful to the Bulldogs. Broncos, what do you think they're paying at home to win this game?
$1.60.
$1.35.
Really?
Yeah. They think they're...
Isn't it amazing what a week does?
I think this is closer than that. I think the Dogs are a chance of causing the upset. It was like it was a tight game up there in North Queensland.
Yeah.
Like the Dogs have something. They really should make the top 8. They deserve to make the top 8. I hope they don't fall away. But you've got the Doggies winning that one.
I do.
Then the next game, another massive game, Cowboys against the Sharks. I think it's going to be a good test for the Cowboys to see where they're at. They've won. They're still a bit weird. The Cowboys can't really, like, you'd think, they'll just climb up and they'll finish 5th or 6th the way they run homers. But they just still seem like they're not 100% clicking as good as they can be.
Yeah. Well, I think, they're a funny side, the Cowboys. Really difficult to work out. Like, one week they beat Penrith in Penrith, and the next they're just not the same. They actually went really close with Penrith this year at home, but they're on 10 wins. They're only 1 win off the top 4. Obviously, with the bye schedule, it messes things up a little bit because both these games, or 2 of the games on Super Saturday, the last 2, they've got like real big top 4 implications. So Cowboys could jump to 11 wins, which would be the same as the Sharks. I think this is a bigger game for the Sharks than it is for the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys, because the Sharks, they've been dreadful. They had that huge win against the Tigers off a bye.
Tigers were dreadful in that game.
Tigers were dreadful.
The Sharks actually weren't that good. They were kind of poor themselves, and they still won by 50 points.
I think the Cowboys get the win. They've got plenty of points in them. I worry about where the Sharks are at. Like, I'm not reading too much into that win against the Tigers.
No.
Cowboys.
And the loss against the Titans says a lot more the week before. And now Nico's obviously out for an extended period. I reckon Cowboys win this pretty easily.
Me too. And then the next game, like the Seagulls against Roosters, they've already played each other this year where Manly battered them at 4 Pines. Like, and again, the winner goes into the top 4, or Roosters stay in the top 4. So
this is where we'll know if Manly where they're truly at, because the last couple of weeks they've won 3 in a row since Turbo came back.
Yeah,
they beat the Cowboys obviously up in North Queensland as well. That was a good win, but then this is a huge test, and the Roosters don't often lose 2 games in a row.
No, they don't, and they'll be pissed off at their performance in Melbourne. Should be a great game.
Allianz Stadium, Saturday night. You go there, go to the pubs on Oxford Street after. This is what you should do. Go to the Beer Footy Food Festival, then get over to Allianz, watch that game, then go to the pubs
in Paddington.
Have yourself a great evening.
I like that idea, Charlie.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Roosters.
Okay.
That is going to be insanely close, though. Like, some of the battles, like Tedesco v Turbo, like Paseka up against the likes of Lenu. I think Lenu and Collins have been named to start as well, which is
interesting.
Yeah. Don't know about Lenu starting. Could be a little bit of an experiment maybe from Trent to see if they can get an extra stint out of him.
Yeah, well, I think he was starting at the start of the year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I remember him starting in Las Vegas,
But he's coming off. He's been coming off the bench. I just wonder if they're thinking, do we try and squeeze a bit more out of him? Because he's so devastating when he comes on. But I just don't know if he's more manageable at the start.
He's like one of my favourite players to watch now. Back fence Spence. Him, the Hammer. Like, they're my two favourite players to watch at the moment.
Yeah, for me, I'm trying to think, playing against Spencer Lenu, I'd rather us, as in the team I was playing for, him start, and everybody's that little bit more tuned in and clued in, rather than letting fatigue set in. And obviously there's substitutions that you guys make as well, but I think I'd rather deal with him and we're all fresh rather than some blokes being tired.
Because he never gets put in his back coming off the bench. Like, he gets quick play the ball pretty much every single hit up he does. It's unbelievable.
And teams stop kicking off to him. Just... Yeah. Do you remember Paliacina?
Yes.
Played for the Warriors.
Yeah.
Like, he went to Wigan. So don't kick off. Don't give him his best run.
Yeah.
Same with Nelson. Don't give him his best run.
Yeah.
Like, that's their best run.
Sunday though, then, Jimmy. Dragons, Panthers. I feel for the Dragons. Their run home's tough, so they're probably going to struggle to make the top 8. Nathan Cleary came back. All the Origin players are back now except for Dylan Edwards. He's had a couple of weeks with that PCL injury. Panthers going to be too strong.
Yeah, shocking time to play Penrith. After a tight game against the Dolphins, and then they get the Origin players back. Yeah, not ideal. I'm imagining the Panthers... Dragons will give a good account of themselves. They usually do. There's only been a few games, noticeably against the Roosters, where they've sort of faded away. But yeah, I like the Panthers in this one.
Then the second Sunday game, we've got 3 games on Sunday again this week. Dolphins against the Titans. It's going to be tough for the Dolphins this game. I think they went on, obviously, had competed against Penrith, but that would have been a big emotional letdown, getting so close to winning that game and then falling short. Can they then back it up with a big performance against the Titans?
For all the hype around Saturday, I reckon this could be one of the games of the round.
Dolphins-Titans? Yeah, absolutely.
Derby.
100%.
And two teams that like to score points. This is a tough one. The Dolphins need to win, and the Titans are just playing well. I can't figure it out. I'm going to tip the Titans for the upset.
I agree with you. I think Titans win.
Yeah,
and then the final
Titans for the upset. I reckon the emotional drain of that Penrith game could catch the Dolphins out.
And Jimmy, you've got a same game multi for this one?
Yes, I've just been working it out, Charlie. This is a huge one. So, back in the Titans for the win.
I like it.
Over 53.5 points. Please, come on. The Hammer anytime. Con Pereira anytime. David Fafita anytime. $19.38.
Ooh, you finally brought some value to us. I like that bet as well.
Yeah.
They're all like, it feels like that will be a high scoring game.
If it will be a high scoring game.
I love
it will.
Yeah, it will.
It's got to be.
I kind of secretly am happy
What's
AJ Brimson
pissed out.
Yeah, it's 6-4.
Thunderstorms,
6-4.
Better than Origin 3. Like, just that battle. It's 2-0 at half time.
Is it weird that I'm kind of happy that AJ Brimson's injured because we get to keep seeing Keanu Keeney? I just like...
That is a weird thing to say.
But I saw the team sheets and I was like a little bit happy that he was out because I love watching Keanu Keeney. And it seems like Des thinks AJ Brimson's the fullback, so... Yeah, that's me. But we got one more game to talk about. The Raiders and the Bunnies. Sunday night footy. I love Sunday night footy. The Raiders, obviously, Fogarty came back. He made a huge difference. They looked just a lot more organised and it was a great performance by them. But they go against the Bunnies. They have to keep winning the Raiders. Can they win this one? Yeah, they do need to keep winning. It's going to be a tough assignment for them, though, against the Rabbitohs, who went great against the Tigers but have just been finding a way to win. The worry for the Raiders is they were outscored by the Warriors, but the mood in the camp will be so much better. They snapped a 4-game losing streak. The mood will be so much better. But again, it's a game they can't afford to lose. They are clinging on to finals for dear life. But you know what? I'm going to go to the Rabbitohs to beat them. Yeah, okay, right. Rabbitohs are done. They can't win, make the 8.
I don't believe that's possible.
Run home's really tough. They've got the Panthers and the Roosters still, so next year should be fun. Have you had any thought about the Rockbuster as well?
What was it again?
A Beatle superhero.
A Beatle superhero. So, like John Lennon,
Maybe.
Ringo Ringo Starr.
A Beatle superhero.
McCartney. Superhero, Superman, Spider-Man, a George.
Do you want to just leave it for everyone at home to guess?
Yeah, leave it.
Or should we give it to them?
No.
First person to comment the correct answer on YouTube can have a piece of merch of their choosing. And then first person to message us on Instagram who's listened to the show.
All right.
So then everyone gets a chance to win.
Everyone gets a chance.
Can't be YouTube exclusive. Can't be podcast exclusive. Everyone gets a chance.
Equality.
For all.
All right. Cheers, Charlie. Been great to chat. Thankfully, you've got your car back and I'm not having to run you around. So tune in next week, everyone, as well. Thanks for listening. And please subscribe. We're almost 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're in that space, please like, subscribe, and all that dance. Leave us comments. We'll read them. We'll get them through. We're looking forward to hearing from you guys, the listeners. Also, the live shows, not the live shows, the round table. Give us some ideas.
Yeah.
So we're putting that together, and we think we're pretty close. We've got 2 of the 4 guests.
Don't want to say who they are?
No, don't say who they are. A lot of people asking, can we get a fan on the show? We're going to get some fan engagement for that. Really looking forward to it. But give us an idea about topics you'd like us to discuss.
Yeah.
Because we'll rehash some with some different guests, but looking forward to hearing from you what you think are important issues in the game. So, yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you next week.